Hello. So, in this video, I'll talk about your profile, which gets me a lot of questions, fears around age, around, oh, I didn't go to a certain kind of college. What do I do about my resume or make up for the gaps that I've had in my academic or professional life? So, this video is primarily useful for people who did not go to a tier one college in India. Well, if you were fortunate enough to get to an I series of colleges at your undergrad level, this might not be very useful to you. So please feel free to skip. So starting from frequently asked questions: Am I too old to do an MBA, or am I too young to do an MBA? In my class, I saw people who had 2 to 3 years of experience, so around the age of 23 to 24. They were also my classmates. I also had classmates who were 30 plus, and they when they graduated, they would be around 33 to 35 years of age, and colleges let them in. So colleges don't necessarily, in my opinion, have we won't take people above 30 kind of a rule. However, you in your application have to demonstrate that you're ready to derive the max benefit of the MBA, and it's not just about convincing the college. It's also about having a very thoughtful reflection as to, does it make sense for me? Suppose you're too young, right? Well, there's nothing which is too young in these days, but suppose you have 2 years of experience, and you have to make a case as to why you are ready for this MBA now versus after getting 2 years of extra experience from this stage. And hence, an MBA at that point would help you transition into a different kind of role in a similar industry. So all of that has to come across in your essays and stories and the resume. I'll give you another example. Suppose you are a career switcher, an industry switcher, and you've already had, say, 10 years of experience. Nobody's stopping you from applying, but then you have to have realistic expectations of what the MBA, a 2 year program specifically, will get you. Think about also then one year programs in that case. That doesn't make more sense for you, because there's, well, cost of foregone earnings, you might have to take a step back and start in another industry, another company at a more junior level. So are you prepared to do that? So with this realistic thought of line of thought, you'll then make a case for yourself that, fine, I'm 35, but here's what I've done thus far, and here's how this MBA will help me move ahead in my career. And I think that should be fine. No college is going to hold that against you. Well, and if they do, well, the college is not worth studying at. But I can speak for sure Wharton doesn't necessarily not take people above 30. When I went in, I was 29. I'd worked for 6 years thus far. And when I graduated, I was 31. So I'm also an example of a person who went pretty late in the career. But I went when I felt ready to apply, and I felt more accomplished than ever. So it's your call. The college is not going to bar you. The next kind of question that I face very frequently is, I did not go to a famous I series of colleges in India. So and there's other version of it is a second. I've already done MBA from a different tier college in India, or even in IIM. Will US allow me for a second MBA? Of course they will. I had classmates from IIMs. I had classmates from other B schools. I myself studied at IRMA. IRMA is Institute of Rural Management, and I love the college for the purpose that it has. It was started by Dr. Varghese Kurian, who founded Amul as well. So IRMA was started and still focuses very much on the development sector, which means, how do you manage cooperatives, how do you manage NGOs. And if you're really interested in that sector, that's a fab program that focuses entirely on, I would say, what is now fashionably called social enterprises, and how do you manage them? How do you combine, I would say, profit to purpose, and sometimes not even profits, the earnings you return to the farmers. But how do you build such organizations, which are truly a very interesting way to change the world? So yeah, but even with that, I had another master's, right? And I could apply and get into most of the colleges that I had applied to. So that shouldn't hold you back that I'm from like an IIM or not, but I have another master's. Business schools love diversity of thought, right? And they really value this intellectual diversity also because of the contribution you bring to the classroom. Similarly, some employers, a lot of them are consulting firms. They like people from, say, arts background, a psychology background, then quant heavy backgrounds, then somebody from a medicine background. They love that because their belief is that the more the intellectual diversity and the diversity of experience on the table is, the better will be the outcome, the common outcome that will be delivered as part of the project or the assignment or whatever is the deliverable, because we bring different perspectives onto the table. And one of the things that I love about America is that it really values intellectual diversity. People would love you for the interesting life experiences or professional or personal you've been through, as long as you're able to communicate in your application package. So don't let that hold you back. A different kind of degree or a non-tier one degree from India. However, it is expected that whatever you chose to do in life, you did it well. That might not necessarily mean that you were innately gifted. You might have, had to make certain choices in life that were either thrust on you by for lack of money or for lack of certain other privileges that people have. But then, did you accept the choice? Did you show growth there? Did you do well there? Because whether you studied at a tier one or a tier three college, MBA schools do want to know that you did a good job there. And in the words of one of my beloved professors, they try to read your resume bottom up. So they see where you started from. Did you show a upward trajectory? And did you show a strong growth? Right? And that can make up for, say, an early disadvantage in life. Yeah, that's again, as I say, one of the things I love about America, not just its love for diversity, but also that it tends to give everyone a chance. If you were pedigreed and born with a silver spoon, that is fine. But even if you were not, they'll not necessarily judge you by only your past record. They'll judge you by what you bring to the table now. Who are you now? What are you now? And are you passionate about what are you doing? And this has to reflect not just in your essays, but every job interview, etc. you go to, right? If you can show passion for what you're doing, they're more likely to give you a chance as compared to just going, I've all these things under my belt and now here I am as your asset. That will not necessarily work there. So don't worry about your college. Try to, if you're still a student and thinking about for an MBA, think about doing well wherever you are, and also focus on developing other parts of your personality, right? It's not just one exam that you have to take there and somehow just ace it. So if your work allows it, take up roles that let you exhibit leadership or some team activity. If your work can't allow it, do something outside of work. I would not advise you to do things that you don't necessarily like, trying to optimize for your MBA application, because that is a bit of what I would say, it's a bit less authentic, I would say. But I'd urge you to develop interests outside of work and or study. And then do a good job of it. Choose what you like to do, and have a diverse set of interests. Do well at them, and make them a part of your application. That'll show that you're not a unidimensional person, but a versatile person, and that is also something that's valued. Coming to the third bit of how do you address any gaps, etc., or anything else that you might see as a shortcoming in your profile. What you can do is, in those cases, as far as I remember, all the applications that all the applications that I made, they had a section at the bottom that if you want to explain anything, like low scores. Suppose you fell ill or your family member died and if you really went through a hard time and hence you couldn't score well, That is fine. This is not about GMAT. This is about your undergrad scores. So yeah, use that space if needed to explain something that you think might hold you at a disadvantage, but you had a genuine reason for not doing well at that point in life, or you took a break in academics, or you took a break in gap year. So break in your work ex. So you use that opportunity to explain, and well, if you did something else and something different and productive in that time, make sure some part of your application, which is essays or it mentions that, it brings out that adversity and your ability to overcome that adversity at that point in life. So that can be covered. If you come from non-quant heavy backgrounds, like you're an arts graduate and you think that you're applying to a quant heavy program, and this background might make you less I would say give you less chances to get accepted. There are ways to make up for it, right? You can take up a quant heavy course if you're in college, or you can take up a quant heavy certification online, or at work you take up a role that is heavy on quantitative analysis, and you demonstrate that even though you did study that, you have the ability, you have what it takes to learn and deliver that kind of stuff. Because it's not just about proving to the college, it's also about developing, again, that muscle, that skill. Because say when we were accepted into Wharton, a month before we joined, we were all given, we had to take math tests, because it is a quant, I would say Wharton is a data-driven program, and I love it for that. Even marketing there is data-driven. So they make you take a test, and there's a minimum score that you have to get on that test. I fortunately passed, but even if you didn't, you have to take a tutorial and you have to take the test again. You have to pass the test. So nobody's not gonna nobody's gonna kick you out that you didn't clear the test, but you have to come to that level where you can clear the test and then take the program. So think of opportunities where, if you think some part of your profile may raise red flags or questions, there are ways to demonstrate that kind of expertise or experience and make it a part of your resume and your application. So these are the ways. Age, no bar. I would say undergrad degree, no bar, as long as you did well, and be the best of whatever you are and whatever you did. And the third is, whatever gaps you see, all of us have our own shortcomings, and there could be lacunas in your profile. Find ways to overcome that before you make that application. And of course, overcome it in sincere, genuine ways. Don't just pick up stuff just to show and make up stuff. I feel like the need of saying this because I sometimes get questions from people who are not interested at all in social work, saying that, I have to apply to US MBA, what NGO do I join for 2 months so that I can put it on my resume? I don't know if the college will catch it or not, but it's very disingenuous. It's do something. You don't need to go join an NGO. If you like playing guitar, well, try becoming a guitar player on the side, do whatever you like. Show sincerity. I'm sure you'll be fine, and the college will see you as you are, as an individual with many interests, with a diverse personality, and a genuine, authentic individual. Cool. So good luck, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.